Hi, I'm Ingemar from Hunnings Consultancy, and this recording is about how you record disbursements in Leap. So I hope this is going to be of some help to you. I'm going to share my screen, and here we have my training Leap. I'm going to take the picture of me off here so that's not in the way. Minimize that. Okay, so recording the payment of disbursements through Leap. So if you're paying the disbursement out of client, disbursement in quotes here, then it's not going to go on the invoice. It's just you paying money out of the money that you hold on trust for the client out as a new payment. Okay, new payment. You put in the screen, and I'll go into this screen for a new payment in more detail on the office side in just a moment. There is the ability also, and you'll see that in a moment when I cover this on the office side, to restrict staff so that they can only make a payment request, which then needs to be approved by members of staff as you set the permissions within the staff profiles within your Leap. And that will then appear on here as a withdraw. That will reflect through into your client account, reconciliation, etc., etc. I'm going to move over to the office side because that's what most people are thinking about with regard to disbursements. I just wanted to make the point, however, that if it's being paid out of the client side of things, then mark it on your matter in Leap on the client funds tab. So it's always driven by the bank account being used. So office accounting, there are three ways to record disbursements in Leap. To a certain extent, how you use these options is up to you. And it's a question of policy to a degree for you to determine internally or perhaps with outside bookkeepers or accountants and such like. And there's also the interaction with Xero, or there is an interaction with QuickBooks. But, that's another thing to bear in mind that would influence policy. But I'm just going to go through the basics here, making some assumptions, which I hope is going to be of help to you. So we're now talking about an office account disbursement payment that you're recording here. Obviously, this is not transferring the money. This is just recording it on Leap. So there are three main ways that you can record disbursements: payments and debtors, new payment, anticipated payments, and cost recoveries. And I'll run through those. So payments and debtors, new payment. So this is when you are recording a disbursement that you have just paid out or are just about to pay out. And you would expect that to be reflected in your bank statement. Okay. So new payment, fill that in here, click on that, and you can see most for everybody have one office account, but there's the option of picking more if that were relevant. Be really careful so you pick the right one. Pay to, and I wouldn't ever type it in. I would always pick from the box here, and it goes to your list of suppliers. So if you marked the card as supplier, it's going to come up on the list here and it's going to make life much easier for you. So let's say that we're going to pay a court. Right, so I've got the court here, and I wouldn't create them again from here. You can say that Leap allows you to create them and go and hunt for them, but really you just want to have them already in the system. They probably should be already on the matter because they're one of the players on your matter, and you may well have been in correspondence with them already. So there we go. So we selected, what was it? The Highland County Court, my imaginary court. That brings through the address as well. This, by you doing it this way, you maintain data integrity, and it's a lot quicker for you as well. Payment type. Okay, so you have the methods through which you can pay it. I'm going to pick electronic transfer, but you've got other methods as well. Okay, now we get this here where Leap wants a record of where you have transferred money, which you can type in if you want, but far better is that you would have recorded that data onto the card for that contact, and you can just draw the data through by clicking on this box here. You can make further notes if you wish to. You can view them from here as well. Payment number, I wouldn't bother to write it in. It's an electronic transfer. Just let that record internally within Leap track it that way. The date, okay, so you pick the date when you're actually transferring the money so that it's going to reflect accurate with your bank account. Matter number, that'll put it through a description. So money coming, where you're spending it to, sending it to, what's the purpose of it? rather. So anything you want to put in, the better the description, the better it helps you when you're looking at the ledger later on. So let's say it's Forge application fee. Yeah. The better the description, the better it helps you, especially if you spell it in really good. Yeah. All right. Okay. And then I'm out of touch with what the fees are. It used to be £65. I'm a civil litigator by practice, but I haven't practiced for a while. I now run a management consultancy helping firms with case management systems like this, with compliance and such like. So here we go. You got that in there. Now, tax code is important to select that correctly. Click on the box and that's show there, and you'll see a box appear on the right-hand side. Select that and pick what is applicable. No VAT for a court fee, of course, and save and close. You could print it if you really want to do so, but I'm not going to. Save and close is going to put it on here. Now, there is the entry. It's gone into the debit on this side. Fair enough. If you made a mistake and it was £650 or what have you, you can't delete it. There is no delete option in here. Double left click and reverse it. Reverse the transaction creates another transaction where you can't change most of it, but you can change the date because you want the reversal to be dated exactly the same date as the original erroneous entry. You can change the description, i.e. you can put in here why you're reversing it, but the rest of it you can't change quite correctly. And what it will do is create another record here. I'm not doing it, but I'm just telling you about it. Then another record here, which will be reversing that, the reversal entry. Okay. Maybe I will do it. So here we go. Reverse that. It happens to be today, so I don't need to change the date. Why am I doing this on this occasion? Because I'm training. You see it brackets, know that, save and close, and you see here that it then becomes a reversal sitting right below it. Balance it now 0, whereas before there would have been a 65. So payments and debtors, new payment is just recording the fact that you have or just are making that payment, all right? And if you're using the integration of Xero or QuickBooks, it'll push it through ready to go into that. It's possible for you to restrict staff profiles or staff members by their staff profiles through the application settings, what I call the admin area, so that they can't do that. All they can do is make a payment request. And there's a separate video I've done on payment requests, but they would then fill in the information and they would not be able to authorize it. But they can make the payment request and it'll sit on here in italics, showing as a payment request, waiting for someone to authorize and indeed convert that into a posted payment and perhaps transfer the money. So that's quite a useful feature. I'll watch my video on that. Anticipated payments. So this is money that has not yet been paid, but maybe you've incurred the liability. For me, the classic example is someone working with a DBA or a CFA, and they haven't paid the money yet because that's conditional upon success. Or maybe you got credit in some other way. So anticipated payment, it means that you can put a notice into the system so you don't forget about it. Okay, which is really helpful. When I was in practice, we didn't have a feature like that, and staff would forget things like council's fees. So to put it on, you go new anticipated, the amount. So it defaults to inclusive of tax. So let's say 600, that's 500 plus VAT. Just click away and you can see there's £100 VAT on that. Pay to, again, don't type it in, pick from your suppliers. And I'm going to pick the Very Good Barristers Chambers. There we go, brings it through. The date that is due, that might be because you've got a limited period. You've only got 3 months credit or something. Now there's a report that can be run, which is the anticipated payments report. Okay, so you can have a look at the anticipated payments report and see what's coming down the road to hit cash flow. Billing description, so let's say this is advice on quantum. Try and spell that correctly. Quantum, and then save and close. Now that goes into here as a record. But unlike the payments, which you can't delete, all you have to do is reverse. So this has not happened yet. It's a note, so you can delete it. Say the barrister loses the case. Or you can go in and you can amend it because it's not being paid yet. Okay. Maybe there's a success fee to be added if you want to do it that way. But the value is that when you invoice, it will be picked up automatically. If you were to do the pre-billing guide, it's going to be picked up in there also automatically. So it makes it far less likely that you'll forget the anticipated payment. And when you pay it, then it becomes a payment just like anything else. And if we go to payments and debtors, you can see you can pay from there as well. Now, if you're doing a client to office transfer, Leap will warn you if there are anticipated payments which are as yet unpaid, which is really helpful so you don't forget to pay counsel, for example. So anticipated payments, for me as a litigator, quite a useful tool. Well, a very useful tool. Cost recoveries is a third way to record disbursements. Okay. Now, cost recoveries, it's a bit of a unique thing for Leap as far as I know. What it is, you recording business overheads, which you're charging back to the client. And that's a policy decision. So if I go cost recoveries, new cost recovery, and you go recovery codes, and you can set up these codes in here, just save you having to type. So you can put in things like mileage. That's what we tend to do as a standard when we're setting up a firm in Leap. We'll always give you mileage because it doesn't come out of the box from Leap. So there's an example, or parking, or photocopy charges, or what have you. And that's where InfoTrack are also going to be putting in their charges if you're using the integration with them for land registry searches and such like, or KYC, or for the integration with DocuSign for electronic signatures. Then they'll put that in automatically into your ITSM and then the description of what it is. But let me just put some mileage in here. Brought it in, and it's got the calculation here. So let's say it's 77 miles. That on income, or that on this, and that would go into here. So the fee earner could put that on correctly because they've been told to record everything they possibly can. And then it's a management decision as to whether that's charged on to the client. And because it's that discretionary charge on, you have the ability to delete the entry. Even though the business has incurred the overhead, management can decide whether to pass that on or not. Okay. A good example might be using the integration through InfoTrack with DocuSign. It may be that it's helpful for the firm to do that. InfoTrack will put the charge in here, but, will make you the management says, no, that's for our assistance rather than the client. Anyway, having put that into there, then that's going to be in there ready to be picked up when you invoice and will show in the pre-billing guide. So those are the three ways of recording the disbursements. As I said, what you actually do will depend on the policy within the firm. Now, what I should also do is just take you to the menu and reports. And there are reports on disbursements, office, age disbursements report. And they'll also come up in the matters financial summary with aging. You can also run the matter balances report, which will show them in there as well. And helpfully, you can run the matter balances report only showing archived matters. So you can run that to find matters which have the balances, unbilled disbursements on archived matters, which of course shouldn't happen. So there's a separate video on reports. So I'm not going to go into that in detail, but just showing you that you can run those reports from within there as a written disbursements report as well. So the obvious places to go to just find out what disbursements across the firm are unbilled. Obviously, if they're billed, they're in the invoices report. So I hope that's of assistance to you. Just bringing up onto screen here our website, and you can see that we do a lot of work with Leap, as I've just been training you on. So you can, if I click on that, it brings us up to here. So a bit more information. So we do lots of training for new starters and in firms and other training, just, bookkeeping training on how it works with legal aid. I'm not covering legal aid in this video. That's a different thing entirely. It's different for civil, it's different for criminal. So if you want to get in touch, please do. And just get to the website and fill in the form. Probably better than ringing me because you might not catch me. This is going to mean that we get the information if you fill that in there. So I hope that's of help, and good luck with using your Leap. And perhaps I'll speak with you. Thank you very much. Goodbye.